Your baby just grabbed your finger, not because they needed help, not because they were falling. They grabbed it because, in that moment, your hand was the safest place in the entire world. And here's what no one tells you about that tiny grip. It's not random. It's not a reflex after the first few weeks. It's a request. A quiet, wordless plea that says, "Stay close. I need you in ways I can't explain yet." Because long before your child can say, "I love you," long before they can tell you what they need, their body is already asking. And if you understand what they're really asking for, everything about the way you parent is about to shift. Most parents love their children deeply. That's not the issue. The issue is that love, on its own, isn't always enough, because children don't experience love the way adults do. And you might say, "I love you," 20 times a day. You might buy them everything they point at. You might sacrifice sleep, career, friendships, all of it, for your child. And still, somewhere deep inside, your child might not feel loved. Not because you failed, but because the language of love for a baby, for a toddler, for a growing child, it's not words, it's not gifts, it's something far more primal than that. Developmental psychologists have known this for decades. The research on attachment, pioneered by John Bowlby and expanded by Mary Ainsworth, tells us something extraordinary. A child's sense of being loved isn't built from grand gestures. It's built from small, repeated acts that happen every single day. Acts so subtle that most parents do some of them without thinking and miss others completely. And the ones they miss, and those are the ones that matter most. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 6 acts of love your baby is hoping for, from the moment they're born through their entire childhood. These aren't parenting hacks. They aren't discipline techniques. They're the 6 things that build the emotional foundation your child will carry for the rest of their life. And once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. Act 1. The unhurried hold. The first act of love your baby hopes for is the simplest one, and the one that gets lost the fastest. It's being held without a reason. Not held because they're crying. Not held because you're moving them from the car seat to the crib. Just held, quietly, with no agenda. When you hold your baby, and you're not trying to fix anything, not bouncing, not shushing, not checking your phone over their shoulder, something remarkable happens in their nervous system. Their cortisol drops. Their heart rate synchronizes with yours. Their brain receives a signal that says, "I am safe. I exist. Someone is here." Imagine a mother named Clara. She's had an exhausting day. Her 6-month-old Mateo isn't fussing. He's just lying there looking up. Clara picks him up. Not because he needs it, just because she wants to. She holds him against her chest and breathes. No rocking, no song, just presence. Mateo doesn't know the word for what just happened, but his body does. It's called co-regulation, and it's the foundation of every secure attachment that will follow. Once a day, hold your child when nothing is wrong. No task, no distraction, just contact. But here's the part most parents miss. It's not just about touch. Act 2. The eyes that stay. The second act of love is sustained eye contact, not the glance you give while multitasking, but the kind of eye contact where your child feels genuinely seen. Babies are born wired to seek faces. Within hours of birth, a newborn will track a face-shaped pattern more than any other visual stimulus. And by 4 months, they can distinguish between a face that's looking at them and a face that's looking past them. This matters because eye contact activates the social engagement system, part of the vagus nerve pathway that tells your baby, you are connected. You are not alone. Think about a father named Daniel. He's feeding his 11-month-old daughter, Lily. His phone buzzes. He looks down. Lily pauses. She doesn't cry. She just waits. And when Daniel looks back at her, she lights up. That lighting up, that's not just happiness. That's a reunion. Even 3 seconds of disconnection was registered by her brain as a small absence, and your return was registered as a small repair. Research by Edward Tronick, best known for the still-face experiment, showed that when a parent's face goes emotionally blank, even briefly, babies respond with distress, confusion, and attempts to re-engage. They don't need you to be perfect, but they need to know your eyes will come back. During feeding, during play, during those quiet moments, let your eyes land on your child and stay there, even for 30 seconds. It's longer than you think, and it means more than you know. Now, this next one might surprise you. Act 3. The voice that narrates. Your baby doesn't understand your words. Not yet. But they understand your voice in ways that go far deeper than language. The third act of love is narration. Simply talking to your baby about what's happening. I'm picking you up now. That's warm water, isn't it? You're looking at the light. I see it too. This isn't about teaching vocabulary, though it does that. It's about something psychologists call mentalization, the act of treating your child as a person with a mind. When you narrate your baby's experience, you're saying, I notice you. I'm trying to understand what it's like to be you. A mother named Priya is changing her 3-month-old son, Arjun. He squirms and fusses. Instead of rushing, she says softly, I know. It's cold, right? That wipe is not fun. We're almost done. You're doing great. Arjun doesn't understand the words, but he hears the rhythm. He hears the warmth. He feels the intention behind the sound, and that intention is, you matter enough for me to explain the world to you. Children who are narrated to, whose parents describe their experiences aloud, develop stronger emotional vocabularies, better self-regulation, and more secure attachment patterns. Not because of the words, because of the message underneath the words. I see you, and I'm with you, in this moment. And this is where it gets really interesting. Act 4. The pause before the fix. Here's something that goes against every parental instinct you have. When your baby cries, the most loving thing you can do isn't always to immediately fix it. Sometimes it's to pause, not ignore, never ignore, but pause. 1 breath, 2 breaths, and enough time to notice what's happening before you react. The 4th act of love is the regulated response, responding to your child's distress from a place of calm rather than from a place of your own anxiety. When a baby cries, and the parent immediately panics, rushing, frantic, tense, the baby receives 2 signals at once. Something is wrong, and the person who's supposed to help me is also alarmed. That second signal amplifies the distress rather than soothing it. Picture a father named James. His 8-month-old Sophie tumbles over while trying to sit up and starts wailing. James's first instinct is to gasp and rush over, but instead, he takes 1 slow breath, walks over calmly, and says in a steady voice, "Oh, you fell. That was a surprise, wasn't it? Come here." Sophie still cries, but she calms faster, because James didn't just pick her up. He brought his calm with him. This is what attachment researchers call the calm container. Your nervous system becomes the model for theirs. And when you respond with steadiness, your child's brain learns, distress is temporary. Someone calm is here. I can get through this. The next time your baby cries, give yourself 1 full breath before you move. You're not being slow. You're being steady. And your baby can feel the difference. But here's the one no one talks about enough. Act 5. The repair after the rupture. You will lose your patience. You will raise your voice. You will have a moment, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, where you react in a way you wish you hadn't. And in that moment, a small crack will appear in the connection between you and your child. And the 5th act of love is not about preventing those cracks. It's about what you do after. Repair is the most underestimated act of love in all of parenting. Researcher Ed Tronick found that even in the healthiest parent-child relationships, parents and babies are only in sync about 30% of the time. 30%. That means 70% of the time, there's some kind of mismatch. A missed cue, a delayed response, a moment of frustration. What matters isn't the mismatch. It's the return. A mother named Grace snapped at her 3-year-old Leo during a rough morning. "Stop it. Just stop." Leo froze. His eyes went wide. Grace felt the guilt immediately. Later, once she'd calmed down, she knelt beside him and said, "Hey, Mommy got really frustrated this morning, and I used a loud voice. That wasn't your fault. I'm sorry. Are you okay?" Leo didn't say much. He just leaned into her. But what happened in his brain was profound. He learned that relationships can break and be put back together. That someone he loves can make a mistake and still come back with kindness. That rupture is not the end of connection. Children who experience consistent repair grow up more resilient, more trusting, and more capable of navigating conflict in their own relationships. Not because their parents were perfect, but because their parents came back. And the last one, this is the one that carries all the others. Act 6. The delight that has no reason. The 6th act of love is the purest one. It's delighting in your child, not because they did something impressive, not because they hit a milestone, not because they behaved well, but just because they exist. And psychologists call this gleam in the eye. The moment when a parent looks at their child, and the child sees unmistakable joy reflected back. Not pride, not relief. Joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy at their existence. A father named Marcus is sitting on the floor, while his 2-year-old daughter, Nia, is stacking blocks. She's not doing anything extraordinary. She's just being herself, focused, curious, a little clumsy. And Marcus watches her, and something in his face softens. He smiles, not because she did something, just because she's there. Nia looks up. She sees that smile, and in that fraction of a second, a message lands in the deepest part of her developing brain. I am wanted, not for what I do, for who I am. This is what psychologist Donald Winnicott meant when he said, when the baby looks at the mother's face and sees themselves. When your child looks at you and sees delight, not evaluation, not correction, not distraction. They build a core belief that will carry them through every hard day, every rejection, every doubt they'll ever face. I am enough. At least once a day, let your child catch you looking at them with nothing but warmth. No lesson, no direction. Just the quiet, unmistakable message. I'm so glad you're here. Here's what I want you to take from this video. These 6 acts. The unhurried hold. The eyes that stay. The voice that narrates. The pause before the fix. The repair after the rupture. And the delight that has no reason. They aren't a checklist. You don't need to do all 6 perfectly every single day. Because here's the truth that the research keeps showing us. It's over and over. Your child doesn't need a perfect parent. They need a present one. A parent who keeps showing up. A parent who sometimes gets it wrong and comes back anyway. A parent who, even on the hardest days, finds one small moment to say, with their hands, their eyes, their voice, their calm, their honesty, or their joy, "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." Your baby didn't come into this world expecting perfection. They came expecting you, and that, just you, trying, is the greatest act of love there is. You're not failing. You're not behind. You're doing something harder and more important than anyone gives you credit for. And the fact that you're watching this video, trying to understand how to love your child even better, that already tells me everything I need to know about the kind of parent you are. And if this video helped you see your child's needs differently, subscribe. I post every week about the psychology behind parenting's hardest and most beautiful moments. And tell me in the comments, which of these 6 acts of love came most naturally to you? And which one do you want to practice more? I read every single one.